Here is a quick overview of the Declaration of Independence, Act of Treason, or Act of Bravery slide deck. So I'm glad that you found the tutorial down in the speaker notes. The speaker notes is an important part of the slide deck because there are oftentimes instructions in there for you. So if you'll notice on your student doc, you have your calendar on the first page, and obviously blue and gold are going to have different days. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to look at the definition of treason, and then in your own words, what does that mean? Then it says on slide 2, so you go back to the slide deck, you click on this link, and then you click on login. It's not going to let me log in because I'm not in the class, or it is actually, sorry. There it is. So you would watch that video, answer the questions in the video, and you would also answer the questions right here. There's 1, 2, 3 questions about that. So the next page, you're not doing anything in the slide deck. You're just highlighting 2 ideas you feel are the most important part of the Declaration of Independence excerpt that I gave you. Next up, you're going to look at the word grievance and what the definition of grievance is, and then in your own words, what does grievance mean? So then it asks you to go to slide 3 on the slide deck, and it says click on and read the chart, which I'll show you in a second, on pages 2 and 3 of the PDF that opens up. You need to copy down the meaning of each of the grievances listed below. So here's the grievance, for example, and if I go back to the slide deck, click on that. On page, see if you'll notice that's page 1. And it may take a second to load because it is 22 pages, but you're not looking at the entire thing. You're only looking at pages 2 and 3. So here's page 2. Here's page 3. I copied the grievance, but not all of them. And here's the meaning. So you literally just have to find the grievance that is in your doc. So he has refused his assent to laws. You find that in here, it's right here. He has refused his assent to laws, and you write down the meaning. He has refused to enforce the laws. After you're done with copying down the meaning, you need to decide which of these are the least important versus which is the most important. So you're going to rank them 1 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 through 7. 7 is the least important and 1 is the most important. All right, next up, you are going to go back to the slide deck and you are going to click on Thomas Paine to find out information about him, John Locke to find out information about him, and Thomas Hobbes to find out information about him. Then you're going to talk about what was Thomas Paine's main idea, what was John Locke's main idea, what was Thomas Hobbes' main idea, keeping this question, who was most influential of these 3, as your filter when you are looking at the sources for each one of those. Then you're going to come on this page and you are going to determine, based on what you learned on this page, who was the most influential. You're going to circle one of them, and then you're going to explain to me why. The why is very, very important. Okay. Now, let's go back to everything that we learned in here. We learned about treason. We learned about the Second Continental Congress. We learned about the Declaration of Independence. We learned about the grievances. We learned about the Enlightenment thinkers. What evidence do you have that goes back to the inquiry question that it was an act of treason? You would write all of that down here. What evidence do you have that this Declaration of Independence was an act of bravery? You would write it down here. Then you have to weigh them out. Which do you have more or more compelling evidence for? Because remember, sometimes you might have 2 things on one side and 5 things on another side, but the 2 outweigh the 5. So then after you've made your final determination, you just circle act of treason or act of bravery. And then on the last page, I just need you to fill out this reflection.